And we're on. Welcome to Doodle and Chill. This is Sim and Star.
What's up, guys?
Hey, how you
We
doing?
got we got Adam Post and we have the Red Gaze.
What's up, ladies and gents?
Fantastic.
And today we're going to be talking about College of the Dead.
College of the Dead, the zombie graphic novel that I love and some people are starting to love. I have the link on the Indiegogo, but I'm not sharing my screen at the moment.
I am already.
All right. I'm going to put it in our group, and we can just pop that up. I'm going to tell you all about College of the Dead.
It's already up.
Oh, you got it. Oh,
Yeah.
there we go.
I do that pre-show.
Excellent. Fantastic. So College of the Dead is a graphic novel I've been working on for a couple of years now. And I had the idea to do a zombie apocalypse on a college campus setting. And the reason was, like, I can't believe anybody else didn't do it. I love zombie apocalypse films. And I love comics. I've been doing comics for years and years. And I really wanted to see, like, how would students and teachers react if they're doing their stuff and they have their own natural dramas and teachers are fighting with students and, you know, as they normally would, and arguing or whatever. And students with their little cool personal college lives. And zombie apocalypse happens, you know, so what the hell do you do? So there's a professor that we focus on that kind of takes charge of her group of students. Then there's another professor that takes charge of another group of students, and you know they're just trying to survive, and they're fighting it out. The book's 140 pages. It is black and white, like all great zombie projects are. No offense to anybody that likes color zombie projects, but this thing really was. I just always imagined this to be black and white. And the cover is by Kyle Ritter and the interior artist Javier Aranda. And it's really beautiful and striking. Kyle did a great job on the coloring. He's a brilliant colorist. But really, Javier did an amazing job on the art. That was originally the art of the football player holding the zombie head, was art that was one of the interior panels. And we went ahead and redid it for the cover and came out with that really cool piece. Everybody that sees that cover piece really loves it. And I did an interesting thing on the tiers. So people can get just the graphic novel if they want to. It's 140 pages. It's completely done. And we have a flexible goal. We've started a little slow. I don't have a big social media following just yet. But the books are shipping. They're shipping October 2019. Before Halloween, they'll be delivered because all the books are done. You know, everything is done. It just needs to be printed and sent out, which I'm pretty good with. We've done that before on other campaigns off Indiegogo. So we did the single graphic novel. But then I also, when we were making the book, like, I love comics. And my first comics I made 30 years ago when I did as a teenager a project called G.I. Jackrabbits and sold it to comic stores. And I was a kid. I was a teenager. But making comics for me as kind of like the high concept guy and developing the idea and then working with the writer and working with the artist and working with the letterer and putting everything together is, to me, it's a labor of love and it's fascinating. So you know, when you make these books, you get these full scripts back, and the full script, of course, is different than what people see in the actual printed comics. And it's fascinating to me just to see the comic get made. And we have layouts that are done on every page before the penciler is allowed to then go in and finish it. So the Ashcan book, which is part of the set, if you want to get the Ashcan and the graphic novel for $50, really shows you a full script and then the layouts that result from the full script, which then sometimes will change the layouts because the artist sees it differently than even the full script dictates to them to do. And sometimes artists get brilliant ideas, as you guys know. And then you kind of want to incorporate some of those, and sometimes you have to pull back a little bit and redirect them. But the ash can kind of shows you how the whole book got put together. And it came out great. I'm really happy with the ash can. The book came out really good too.
Tell us a little bit about the art book.
Well, that's an interesting question. So when I designed this book, I designed the book. So I'm big on trying to frame the project, and this was like something I really wanted to try for a couple of projects. And I did it first in College of the Dead, and I have another thing coming up that we'll probably do just after this one. We made the panels all the same size on the art, and we did not break the panels. And the thinking in that was that we'd be able to really maintain suspension of disbelief, which as a major aspect of writing, that you want people really engaged in the story. You don't want to notice a panel border being broken. You don't want a layout to get too wonky that it takes you out of the story. So in designing it that way, literally every panel is the same size throughout the book. And we wound up with all of these panels that were really just beautiful panels by Javier. And then, of course, when you're lettering, you put the letters on the panels and you get a nice comic. But I wanted to try to do a separate format book, and this is also a little experimental, where you just saw the panels without any of the lettering on them. You probably can't see it, but I actually have I love the art book. I have a mock-up. Oh, you can't see a little bit. I have a mock-up of the art book here.
Hold on, let me lock on your screen.
Oh, all right, cool.
There you go.
All right, there I am. Hey, how you doing? It's me. So you can see, hey, I didn't lie. I'm here. So, but I made a mock-up of it because it's just so freaking cool to me to be able to see, one panel a page. This is like 8 by 8. It's a big book of just the panels. And you'll see that the storytelling is excellent. You can follow the story without reading the words in most cases. The expressions of the characters, the storytelling, the pacing, you really do know what the heck is going on. But just being able to show, I mean, this is over 200 pages, just being able to show all the panels. I mean, like, this is just opening up randomly here to it. Was a real kick as well. So I was like, all right, let's make an art book of just this. And I actually was going to make this. I had this for a while as its own separate tier. Then I was like, I don't really want people buying just the art book because you can't get a sense of necessarily what the full story is. So I just kind of made it part of, if you get all three for $85, then all three versions, then you can get the art book. It's actually the only way the art book is available through the Indiegogo. I don't know if you can see it so well either, but I actually do have a mock-up too of the ash can. The ash can is completely done, and the layouts where one page is script. Oh, yep, you can see it. One page is script, and one page is layouts. And it goes on for 100 pages, and that's one of my favorite things about collaborating is you get to work with people who are so good at what they do that it's impossible to not learn while you're working with those people. And I'm sure you guys have run into some of that making comics where you can teach, but you can also learn so much from the people working with you.
Yes.
Yeah, most definitely.
Right. And then it's like, hey, wow, that's really cool. What I like to do is I really also like to try to tell that person too, that, hey, I just learned that from you, and that's really, really cool. Just as an aside, I'm also doing more and more. Ever since I did my first interview with Jason, I got kind of inspired to really do this. I'm starting to do interviews with other people in Comicsgate and other people who are in comics. I just did one with Mike Barron last night, who's got Offworlder going right now. And the guy is brilliant. He's just brilliant. I mean, I learned a lot from him just interviewing him and talking to him. He was talking about writing and I was asking him all right, well, if someone wants to learn more about writing, what would you recommend? What's the number one book that you would recommend they read? And he recommended Elements of Style, which he said you could read in an hour, which maybe it's just a fast read, must be just a fast read. And then his other second best recommendation was to write every day. He's like, just write every day. It's practice, practice, practice. I'm like, and I felt a little funny asking him this, but I'm like, look, I know people, and I know people who are struggling to learn something new. And I know that, and you guys probably know this as artists too, is sometimes you'll work on something. You'll be like, I didn't spend enough time on this. I'm not really committed. You beat yourself up over it. But as far as a pro would be concerned, they'd be like, hey, good job. That's good that you know. So I'm like, exactly how much writing per day counts? He's like, all right, well, even if it's a sentence a day, you write as much as you can find time for, but just at least write something every day. And he said, keep a pad with a pen all the time, because you'll get ideas and you can write those down. And I'm like, does that count as writing something every day? He's like, yeah, you get an idea, you write it down, then you wrote every day. So, to me, you get so much from talking to other people who are doing stuff. And you certainly obviously get so much from a professional if you're not intimidated to ask them, hey, how do you do this? Or how would you recommend someone do that? So it's a pleasure. Actually, and it was really funny too. People were asking me like, so what's your YouTube channel? I'm like, I don't know. And I can't find it myself. So I registered adameveryday.com, and that points to my YouTube channel if anybody's curious about it. Because I'm planning on talking to a lot more people, man. It's great. It's a lot of fun. And, like everything, it starts off small. But everything I ever did always started off small. Got to kind of learn how these things work. Now I'm talking to all three of you guys.
Yeah, most definitely. And one thing that is really important, especially with doing like the interviews and stuff, it allows you to broaden your horizon and reach out to different people with different styles who took different paths to get where they are. And being able to see those different styles and stories help you as an artist yourself.
And I'll tell you what, as a writer, and I don't do the last thing I wrote was in 1986. I wrote G.I. Jackrabbits #1, my first comic. And then I never straight wrote anything by myself ever again. I would always write the idea, probably write a paragraph, and then collaborate and do feedback with people who are really proficient writers, because it's a whole separate skill set. And again, you can just get so much done, and it's just so exciting to collaborate with other people. But that was my goal for talking to Mike, and because I know that for myself, I read a book called Story by Robert McKee, and I really loved it, and I recommend it to people because it just talks about some things like in structure that when you're trying to figure out, you have a really good idea for a story and you want to write something, you want to develop a character, there are tricks. There's tricks to understanding what the framework is for basic framework for a good science fiction story. Or like Mike was just recently saying about The Punisher, because I really liked his Punisher work when I was a kid. I was around when he was writing it. And he said well, the first 3 years were really good because they were they were great because he wrote it as a crime story. It's well, so what's a crime story, right? I mean, what are the conventions of a crime story? And do you want to write a crime story? Is that something you're interested in? It just basically meant well, it's no superhero, and it's kind of like a whodunit, and you don't have Thanos coming in on spaceships invading the planet, and then you have to figure out how to beat him with your big gun while you're that's a superhero story. It's fine, but that's not a conventional crime story. And conventions are important because that's what people know and they relate to on a fundamental level. So in any event, you can learn. People could get 5 or 10 years experience sometimes from learning disciplines from books that people recommend who get what you're trying to do. Let me put it that way, if you know what I'm saying. because you don't need to necessarily know how to write a screenplay and think about those kinds of things unless that's really a passion of yours.
Me, I have one question.
Oh, yeah.
Because I know that, when people say see the flexible goal, sometimes it makes them nervous. Can you just reassure them what's going to happen if you don't reach the 5K?
That's a phenomenal question. All right. Thank you for asking that. I was going to mention, I'm like, man, this flexible goal.
I think it's an important thing, yeah.
All of my work is bought and paid for. I did this for me, and now I want to share it with people. And I did not build my social media following well enough to launch for this level. But the goal was arbitrary to begin with. The flexible goal means that if we accomplish the full goal of 5,000, then we've reached our goal, and that's terrific. And there would be an in-demand store to be sold afterwards. But it's not required for the book to ship. So if the book had done $100 on its goal, the books would be shipping just as planned. If now it's up to $12.85 at the moment, those books will ship even if we don't do another dollar. Am I losing sales because people see it's only 25% funded from the original goal? It was originally arbitrary because people are looking at it and thinking, well, if it's 25%, I don't want to, buy it and then I still don't get the book. And it's absolutely not the case. But it does confuse people. So unfortunately, that's just the name of the game. I won't make the same mistake again. But yeah, the book's shipping in October. There's nothing Indiegogo could do to stop it. I appreciate all the pledges we have. The pledges will probably go up. I'm not concerned. I'd love to meet the goal and exceed it. But the books are shipping no matter what. In fact, almost all of College of the Dead 2 is done. And it's just as awesome looking at this, except that Kyle hasn't colored the cover, and I don't know if he'll have time. But yeah, that's a great question. The flexible goal is an issue. If I could do it over again, would I do a smaller flexible goal? Yeah, or a smaller fixed goal? Absolutely would. From where I'm at, and for anybody kind of looking and seeing like, all right, well, the work looks good. It looks cool. You have a Kyle cover, and yes, it's black and white, which can sell less sometimes. Should other people be concerned? They should learn a lesson of, if you absolutely need it, make a higher goal. But if you've got the work done and you can deliver no matter what, there's no reason to be more than a $1,000 goal or even a $500 goal. Especially because of the way that the Indiegogo algorithm works. Because truthfully, when you're doing well initially, yeah, they will show your book. But when you, at the point where you don't have a lot of action for a few days straight, and you're at a lower percentage of accomplishing the stated goal, flexible or fixed or not, it doesn't matter. They'll practically hide your listing. Like I could go in on my phone and type in College of the Dead on Indiegogo. It won't be the first thing that pops up. It'll be like maybe the fourth or the fifth thing that pops up, even if it's the exact correct title. And look, it's like anything else. You got to learn when you do these things. And I may do Kickstarter after this as well. I think I probably will, just for additional reach. Right.
The only advice I would give you on the campaign would be maybe if you could put more pages. Since
more pages?
It's an 190-page comic.
140.
Right? 140. So they're already done. So maybe like 4 pages of consequential art might help people just get in. Like to see like there's 4 consensual, consensual.
You mean sequential or
sequential? Yeah, sorry.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, that's a great idea. You know what? I updated this to include character pages on a suggestion of a friend. So I'll blame Von Klaus on that one. That son of a gun. Oh, he's been such a great help, and I love his energy, and I love his project, Monster MD. Everybody should back Monster MD. But yeah, I wanted to put in character pages, and we have so many sequential pages, it starts to get silly. But yeah, you know what? What the heck?
You could maybe just do it like a montage of one image of four sequential pages.
I'm not so great with the montages, but I can put in 8 pages. We can certainly add a lot of pages. We definitely have the pages done. We definitely have all the lettering done. Yeah, I'm with you. You know, the other thing I did that I think I added a video afterwards, but I didn't add a video initially. But the one caveat I would have to all of this is, you know, for me, I was going to delay launching the campaign, which I've done 3 times before, because I didn't set up. And I have some friends in Comicsgate and you know, in the business that I just hadn't reached out to yet and planned things with, and you just can't delay things forever. You know, even if it's done wrong, you're better off to just get the damn thing out, as long as you can keep your promises. You know, so if I didn't have the book done, as far as I'm concerned, for where I'm at right now in production, because I'm not the artist, you know, I like knowing that, all right, I have everything done pre-press. And even if that's like, all right, well, maybe don't have it done pre-press, but do more publicity first. The key is you have to know. I mean, in Comicsgate and crowdfunding, it's kind of understood the projects can be late sometimes, but everyone has to kind of do what they're comfortable with. To me, I'm very not comfortable with late. Late is unacceptable, and you can't rush the work. So the way to not be late is for one thing, you can have it all done in advance. You don't have to, but you could. But for another thing, you really talk to the printer, whoever is going to help print the product, and really understand what it's going to take, or how long it's going to take to print. Sometimes it takes a month to print something, and you have to deal with that and know what that's going to be. I had a friend who was planning on releasing his comic in November of this year, and he was telling me he was going to ship it in December, and I was like, well, you might think you're going to ship it in December, but aside from other production problems, you don't want to be mailing anything in the month of December, especially between Thanksgiving and Christmas. And the reason why is it's not a matter of can you package stuff up. It's a matter of in the United States, it's Christmas time, and there's like 500% of the normal volume of mail going around. So stuff gets lost, stuff gets slowed, especially of like, yeah, it's a book. I can just send it media mail. No problem. I'm going to send media mail during Christmas time. It's like, well, then they're going to get lost because those are catalogs as far as the United States Postal Service is concerned. So there's considerations like that. But if you work backwards from, all right, I really want to keep my promises to whoever's kind enough and passionate enough and interested enough to back the project and help make a dream come true, you want to deliver for those guys. Yes. Really. Yep. You know, I mean, what Ethan Van Sciver did with Cyberfrog was create a masterpiece that we're starting to finally see pieces of. And you can't tell someone who's producing a true masterpiece of an amazing, you've seen the pages of an amazing looking book. Well, this is when it's got to come out. Like, well, who even knows how to create, you know, something at that level? You strive to produce your greatest work that you can. But when it's something like that, then yes, it might be late because it's hard to predict when you're going to finish something that's going to stand the test of time. Earthworm Jim just did more business than the first version of Cyberfrog, but that's sort of a second book following up on a lot of publicity that Doug TenNapel was able to generate on his own, but a lot of it thanks to his first book with Comicsgate. So to me, it's deliver first, and the promotion should be part of it. But it's impossible. I don't know how many books, if you guys have put out books or not before, but it's impossible to describe how much you learn once you actually go through the first process.
Oh, you learn quite a lot.
I didn't even have Jason on my side when I started this. Now I have Jason on my side. So my next project is going to be something called The Mermaids. And The Mermaids is a Game of Thrones style universe with different queendoms with an all-female mermaid universe. And it's just the mermaid universe. And it is full color. And it is completely done. And I just wanted to there's always a final touch somewhere. But when I do that, am I going to approach it slightly differently? Like, yeah, man, I'm going to approach it different. That's how you kind of learn in this thing. So it's it's something where you learn and you do a better job on hopefully everything the second time around.
And that's why you kept it simple with only 3 perks.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's why I kept it simple with 3 perks. I figured out later, like, well, I could have done gravestones. I could have get your name on a gravestone. Because that's one of the things where it's like, well, I love the idea of draw yourself into the book. That is very cool. But yeah, you have to me, it's like, well, and I know Javier the artist, he can do likenesses, but you gotta be, to me, it's like, you gotta be really careful about, like, just make sure when you promise it, you can deliver it. Mm-hmm. But putting names on gravestones, I could have done that. And that would have been cool. And I have to do that for the second time around on this.
No, you can still add it if you wanted to. You can go back and add another perk. It's never too late. You still have 13 days to go. You can go in and just add another tier.
Yeah, maybe have like one final page of them looking at like a small graveyard where they've buried friends or close ones.
Yep.
Where there could be
a lot of people would love to do that. Especially the people that lost somebody not too long ago.
In a zombie comic?
Yeah. Come on.
You know what's funny is, like,
we're geeks.
I've known people that have passed away, like, while I've been working on this, and then I was using I have this really I'm not sure where it's represented on the books at the moment, but I have a very cool badge logo, which is like a circular sort of logo of College of the Dead with our skull in it, and I put that in my Facebook profile sometimes, and then somebody on Facebook you'll hear somebody passed away, and I'm like, all right, let me go to this comics professional and say, hey, I'm really sorry to hear about the loss of your wife or something like that, and here it is, this big ostentatious College of the Dead logo. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, well, look, first of all, thanks for the suggestion. That is a pretty cool suggestion. What ideas do you have for maybe a mermaid book? I can't draw people in as mermaids because it's.
You know what?
I wouldn't say can't. It could be done.
You can make them as background. You know what people like? It's to die in books. So if somebody dies, you can put that person dying. People actually like to die in books.
Yeah,
they like to die in books.
Yeah, it's a weird thing, and you say be a mermaid as one tier, and then a little higher tier where be a mermaid and die, and people will like it.
It is pretty crazy, isn't it?
And come on, if you get to be in a movie, do you just want to be like somebody sitting on a chair, or you want to be somebody that's part of the action that gets killed, that gets that random bullet or something? Come on, you're in a zombie movie. You want to die.
Yeah. Maybe you get to be a zombie is pretty cool too.
Yeah, but you don't see. Cool. Yeah.
Getting to be a zombie is pretty cool, and then you are dead by that point.
Exactly. Yeah.
Or you get up a higher tier where you die, then become a zombie.
Yeah.
That's very high end.
And there are a lot of people. There are a lot of people that buy it. I know in Simon's book, Bloodhunt, he had tiers to be like random gangsters that are killed, vampires that are killed, or be a werewolf that gets killed. And I was one of the 2 that purchased the werewolf one.
What's wrong with you? What?
Because he wants to be a werewolf and die.
Yeah.
So how much does it cost for you to be a werewolf and die?
With shipping, it was 460. It was 460.
How much?
460.
It's $460 for you to be a werewolf and die, and then you're going to get a copy of the book.
No, you get all 2 copies of the book. You get a 11x17 original art. Okay. You get a print of the morphing. There's a few things interesting in there. It's not just being in it.
What do you do for a living, Jason? Are you like
He's a spaceman.
He buys a lot of booze, so I think he has money.
Yeah, I do. I do buy a lot of booze.
All right.
I'm always drinking.
And you're just supposed to come and visit me here in Canada, so.
Oh, yeah. Wow. But you are a professional, so like that's not rent or anything.
Oh, no.
Okay. I mean, it is interesting. I think I'm going to have to give it some thought and try to contemplate how that fits. Yeah, I mean, I did a couple of other crowdfunding projects in the past. One of them was called Divas of the Dead, and it's an art book, and it did relatively well, not phenomenal, but relatively well on Kickstarter, and it's got a cute little GIF in it with it's pinups by Rob Stacchetto, who's a zombie artist who does a lot of draw a caricature of you like as a zombie, but he also does other artwork, and he's been doing zombie pinups for a really long time. But he did all these like, basically good girl zombie pinups, and he did like hundreds of them. So I was like, we got to collect that in a book. So we collected it in a book, but it didn't really do well enough to be like it's a huge hit. So we've talked about possibly doing a follow up to it or whatnot. But and the thing too is the kind of projects that you have to pick a project that you're passionate about, that you really want to work on. And I like art books, and I like publishing, but there is only so many things you can possibly work on and do.
Yeah. With future projects, with like we were talking about, adding in tiers where people can kind of get their likeness in the book or whatnot. If for future projects you ever have any questions or like maybe thoughts or ideas you want to bounce off any of us here, feel free to kind of get a hold of any of us, and we'll give you our honest opinion about it.
Don't be shy.
Yeah, I appreciate it, guys. I do. I'm going to do that. And I mean, it shows you how little I know, that to realize like a friend of mine has even been a werewolf, and I didn't even know that. So I'm a little out of the loop on what people are doing these days.
A lot of people don't know the werewolves tend to stay in the closet for as long as they can.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're very good at being in public.
John,
people really like the fact that you didn't have to take the wolf milk to be a werewolf in my book. You just had to pay the price.
So John Malin is a werewolf, right?
Yep.
What's the story about John Malin and werewolves?
It's on stream. They started messing around talking about werewolves and having to have some of that wolf milk or getting a bit rapey.
Okay.
Would you be willing to be raped or taken by a werewolf
if you get to become one?
Okay.
So that's where the entire joke came with the wolf milk.
And that doesn't require any money. So if you're on a budget, that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay.
And oddly enough, there's no werewolves in Graveyard Shift.
I did another thing just as an idea that I don't see other people doing, which is my website, collegeofthedead.com, will redirect to the Indiegogo. But I'm saying in all my videos and when I talk to people, like, hey, collegeofthedead.com is where you can get College of the Dead. So after the Indiegogo is over, it'll redirect to wherever I'm selling the book. But something to think about as you're putting links out and people have it.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
And
go ahead and refresh the page to see if we've got any more.
Oh, I will. Hold on.
In spirit, we have a lot. It's
Wait,
gonna work.
You just get 2%. Yep.
Hey, thanks for supporting us.
You went from 25 to 27.
You're welcome.
Love it, guys.
You're welcome.
It's a huge. It's huge. The thing of it is you make I'm a guy where it's like, I want to show you what we can do. The book is a really good book. It's going to be the first of more. College of the Dead 2. The only thing that's missing, it's also going to be like over 100 pages. It's done. It just needs the files have to be put together, and I've got to see who's going to color the cover, because we have a gorgeous cover that Javier did. It's just very cool, and it just needs to be colored. And then we'll put the files together, and we're good to go. But we're going to hit this really hard. I'm a slow starter with things. I have to kind of see how things work and understand how things work and where the energy is at. And then I kind of put things together. Like my first serious comics publishing, well, after I published my first book as a teenager, which was in comic stores. Sometimes people remember the book, which is very cool, G.I. Jackrabbits. But after I published that book, I went ahead and once I was like in college, I was like, I got to start another comics company. So I started Personality Comics, and that was in 1991, which incredibly was a very long time ago. But we started small and did biography comics on famous people. We started with this supermodel named Paulina Poroskova back in the day. And then we did a Tracy Lords biography. And then we did a series of Star Trek biographies called Original Crew. And, you know, people could still be doing biographies today. You know, it's just basically, it's First Amendment stuff where you're doing a story based on a famous person. And we wound up, it took 6 months. You know, we had to put out 6 months worth of books, probably about 10 books or so, until we really kind of hit our stride and had a lot of success. And we had our own studio. Like very few comic book companies were doing that. We were like kind of an independent comics version of what Jim Shooter was doing with Valiant in New York City. But we had, in fact, in my YouTube channel, AdamEveryday.com, actually halfspeedtucci.com, HALF speedtucci.com, because that was my nickname from EVS's show. Redirects to my website, my YouTube as well. The next time he does Comics Gate Live and I'm on, I'll tell people that. I'm sure I'll get a big laugh. But it's funny. But yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Let's welcome our buddy Vic that just joined in.
Comics. You meant what?
Oh, I actually remember those comics, the Personality comics.
Those bio comics. Oh man, you're old like me, brother.
Yep. Oh, I am. I am. In fact, did you say that your first comic was G.I. Jackrabbit?
G.I. Jackrabbits, brother. Do you remember that
man. I had that.
People keep telling me that. I have to bring back G.I. Jackrabbit. See, this is the thing. It's like, that was, look, if you guys do a Google search and can share screen, I'm not trying to assign work to people. It's just very hard for me to talk and think at the same time. But yeah, see, it was the same kind of motivation for me to do G.I. Jackrabbits as it was to do College of the Dead. Why? Because like people were doing funny animal books. You know, the first big funny animal book, parody book, was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which was based on the dark work of Batman, Dark Knight at the time, like this whole dark take in comics, but also carrying Frank Miller's Daredevil. So it was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and then other people were doing animal parody books. And I was like, and I hadn't published any comics yet, but I was like, I was buying comics as a kid, like, 12 years old, 13 years old. And I got a hold of the first original Ninja Turtles comic I could buy was Ninja Turtles 3 at my comic store. And I was like, well, people are doing parodies of other superheroes. There was the radioactive black belt hamsters, which are, those guys are coming back through Dynamite, and they're going to be in Ethan's wrecked planet, Cyberfrog #2. Ethan is very close with Dynamite. And how much exactly, of course, I don't know. But
yeah.
But that inspired me. Like, well, we all loved G.I. Joe. So why are there no funny animal parodies of G.I. Joe? And the answer was like, there just aren't right now. So I was like, all right, well, how about G.I. Jackrabbits? And I mentioned it to a few of my friends, and they're like, well, yeah, that's really cool, but how would you ever do that? And, back in the day, I mean, really back in the day, because this is more than 30 effing years ago. There's no crowdfunding. You're not going to sell it mail order. You got to sell it through comic book stores. So,
right.
If you guys want to hear it, it's kind of an interesting story how I wound up getting published. I will tell you whether you like it or not. So I was on the island, and Long Island, which I still am. And I started looking for a printer first. I was like, all right, well, you can't make these things without printing. And I found this company, and you will remember this company. I found this company, Solson Comics, being run by Gary Brodsky, who was the son of Sal Brodsky. That's where Soul Sun came from. And they were printed, right? And actually, they gave Jim Lee his first published work. What? Hell yeah. They gave him his first published work, which was Samurai Santa. Go look up Samurai Santa. Boom, you got it. If you Google G.I. Jackrabbits, Kyle Ritter recolored that cover for me. I paid him to do that. And I just got so excited about G.I. Jackrabbits by him putting his genius on my G.I. Jackrabbits again. That I was like, all right, now I'm like crazily psyched. Now I'm like a madman about G.I. Jackrabbits, which is why I'm talking about that now instead of probably College of the Dead. But I loved it. You know, when you love something and you're excited about it, you know, it's hard to forget about it. It's hard to put it down. And then, like, I even want to show the artwork for it. I gotta find it. I'll find it. Damn it, G.I. Jackrabbits. Gonna pop up. But
so meanwhile, I would like to say congratulations, Vic. You just broke the 1,000.
Hey,
on the extractors, you're now at 14%.
Awesome.
Yeah, 1,027. So you just broke the 1,000.
Woo.
And welcome, Shay.
Howdy. Jay and
Congratulations.
company.
Welcome, Space Parrot.
awesome. Hey, there's a bird in there.
There is.
Yep.
He refused to stay on his cage.
So just before I move this, let's just go. You have the tier at 50 that comes with the Ashcan. 25, the comic book. Do they come signed?
Are we talking to me?
Yes.
All right, my books I'm not planning on signing.
Okay.
I thought about it and I was like, well, again, I want to make sure I get these to people and get them to them, you know, nearly immediately and quickly as possible when the darn things are done. So what we're going to do is I'm promising them before Halloween, but my plan is to get them in people's hands really by September.
So if I come visit you in Long Island, you'll sign them for me?
I might get crazy and sign some of them anyway. I mean, I'm extremely unpredictable, but I will keep my promises. Because like now I'm obsessed with talking about G.I. Jackrabbits, which makes no sense. But this was my first project, and it was like a first love. So, you know, what are you going to do? But
well, let me tell you, Adam, I'm gonna start a fan art campaign to nudge you along on bringing.
I'm a dead man. If you do that, that's the cover. If you do have fan art starting to get made of G.I. Jackrabbits, then there's no way I'm not going to be able to do it, and it's going to completely derail other stuff that I would like to do because it's got a hook in me. I said so. You know, I sent you the link on Twitter if you want to see. But this is recolored already by Kyle Ritter. The original was all flat colors by a guy named Rich Buckler, who was part of Solson Comics. So Solson Comics printed our comic. They offered to distribute our comic. They sold about 15,000 copies of G.I. Jackrabbits through comic stores. I'm really grateful for them for doing that, but unfortunately, they never paid us. So they just kept all our money and then went out of business a couple of years later. Hey, that happens, you know. So people have to be real careful about who they do business with, whether it is you're hiring creative talent, whether you are hiring a printer, and as much you have to be just extremely careful about who you deal with and what you're doing, and to keep your promises. And when I was a younger guy, you know, I'm 49 now. When I was a younger guy, I was less concerned about my reputation. Even, you know, a couple of decades ago when we did some of the early comics publishing, because you don't think about legacy like that. But the whole thing is reputation is an incredible currency, and you can do a lot with it. So my best suggestion on that is just be well recommended. Like Peter Cimetti recommends a certain printer that people use called API Productions that he uses, not for his newsprint, but for his trade paperbacks. So it's just a matter of you go to people you respect and just straight up ask them, hey, do you know this guy? Do you know a guy who does that? And see what they say. But I like the name, The Extractors, a lot. I'd like to hear more about it.
So let's go. Give us your little pitch quickly.
Extractify us.
You're on the spot. You get to do the pitch this time.
Go
well,
ahead,
what?
Shay. It's your turn.
Did they not? Oh my gosh, they suck. Okay. So
No, Vic is there.
extractors basically, is he going to do it? Are you going to open your
No,
mouth,
no,
Vic, or am I going to
ahead.
have to do this shit?
No,
You're an
Vic is
asshole.
busy going. Right?
I
You're
can
busy
ask questions
going, right?
about it.
You're busy drawing, right?
Okay. No, he's not. He's never drawing. So
Oh,
basically,
I am
extractors is the way that I describe it is like progressive meets A-team. So you've got this group of extractors that are basically insurance adjusters. They sell insurance to various ships, and it's up to certain kind of like designations within zones in space. And if they go outside of those designations, unfortunately, they're not covered. Well, our group of extractors is like, yeah, fuck that shit. We don't care. And they go in and they save people anyway. And basically, when they go to save this one ship, they end up finding a crap ton of zombivores that have just kind of taken over. People are getting ripped apart. People are getting turned. At some point, Vic drew me getting my face ripped off, and I become one. So it's a really action-packed, violent, really kind of gnarly-looking comic book, and it's definitely worth a pickup.
So you're saying it's sort of like the A-team.
Mm-hmm. A little bit.
Because they will take on projects other people will not take on.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Now, but and there's an
this-
element of the A-team where the A-team is trying to help people or something like that.
Also,
Oh, really?
that and
I love the
they're
A-team.
going against the insurance company. So
Right.
they're still employed by the insurance company, but the insurance company doesn't want them saving these people that are outside their policy limits. Because
Yeah.
if you don't pay,
Because it costs them money.
they're not going to save you. Right. So, but our team, just like the A-team, they pilfer the resources from the man, and they make it happen. They go out and they save people. This comic book is actually, honestly, it's very rock and roll because it's action from the beginning to the end, and the way Aaron, the writer, Aaron Calamari, the way he's written the characters, you don't need a whole bunch of back information to understand or relate to the characters because he gets you into them really quickly. And so once you're like reading in for like a page or two, you're already hooked on the characters because you're like, oh, okay, I get it. I see their character. They're doing something that's good, So
I
it's
like
it
that kind of writing where you can understand what's going on like right away.
Right.
Yeah.
Even if it's a fantastic setting. It's like, oh, I see what that is. Cool. Then you could just kind of enjoy.
Yeah, no, so Aaron really kind of just dives straight into, you get like, I want to say maybe a page and a half of setup, and it's really, really quick setup where it's basically like, hey, so here's a ship, here's the level that it's insured up to, and then here's the zone it's in, which is not that same zone. And that's pretty much it. And then instantly you're just right into the action. It's like, oh, okay, so our guys are just kind of saying F it all, and that they're not going to let the bureaucracy of business or politics keep them from saving people that genuinely need the help.
That's a hero.
Absolutely.
Because nobody paid the A-team, right? Or occasionally, like, there'd be some hot girl and Face would be like, hey, and, they'd be like, well, where's Face? And he's, like, fixing his tie or something like that. Something went down or something like that.
Well,
did the extractors get paid?
Yeah.
In their own way.
Okay, so they're getting paid by the insurance company to do their normal job.
Yeah.
Also, just like with the A-team, like there were some people that were able to pay them,
Okay.
But because it was always like if you're lucky enough, you can hire them. And that was like the A-team tag.
I'm always really curious about business models, so I want to do some YouTube videos like on my take on small business and some finance things and stuff like that. But I recognize now as we're talking that it sounds like I'm thinking about getting recruited into the extractors. So I may as well just ask, like, how do I get recruited into the extractors? Is there a tier for that? I can't literally join the extractors. Or
well, That's something that's an interesting idea that
be a red outfit.
Yeah, I can run
Red
that
shirt.
Yeah, get it?
I
I can
might
run
be
that
able
by
to.
Aaron.
All right. I mean, have your people talk to my people.
Yeah,
Heck
yeah.
yeah.
Because
Jason, I do have my limits, so see what he says and tell me if you think it's fair. But I would consider it.
we do have a tier called Your Zombie Death.
Yeah.
Where you can have yourself
You know what?
drawn
Let's
into
just
the
go over
book
all the.
as one of the victims.
Let's just go over all of them right now.
Yeah, let's hit the tiers.
Yeah. So $20, you get the extractors plus the poster by Carlo Rowe. You get at 10, you get the digital copy. You get something else with it? No, just the book.
Pretty
Then you
girl.
have the extractor worldwide $15. You get the book printed. Here's you get for $25 you get 2 copies. $30 you get the extractors plus the poster. Oh, the sketch cover. You get you do a nice sketch.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's
Is there a limit to it or it's no limit?
No limit. Is I'll sell as many of those as I possibly can. Also, I just want to, while you're on those 2 particular tiers right there.
Yep.
The book and poster tier and the sketch cover tier. The first 100 backers of those tiers get a free 11 by 17 drawing of a original drawing of a random Comicsgate character or independent comic character. So it's kind of like a thank you for the first 100 backers.
And do you want to go over the last 2 ones since you can explain them better?
Oh sure. Well, I can't see them, so
Zombie Death.
Shay, can you see them?
It's
it's the zombie death one. It's the one where you murder me, and you can. Basically, you can, if you get the zombie death tier, Vic is going to draw you either getting horribly eviscerated in this comic or potentially turning into one of the zombivores. And let's just say, like, when he draws it, it's pretty intense. Like, I think that my eye bulged and then my face slipped and then I peeled like a banana and a zombivore came out. So it's pretty gnarly.
I'm a big fan of that's the other thing. That's like when we say like the book is A-Team meets Ripley from Aliens. That's really kind of what it is, because I'm such a huge fan of like sci-fi and horror sci-fi movies. Alien, Doom, all of those kind of movies. I love them, man. And so that's kind of like the feeling that I'm working so very hard to invoke in the pages. When you read it, I really want you to go, oh, yeah, that was kind of scary as shit. Damn. That really, I mean.
That is cool looking.
And with that tier, you also get the book and the poster.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And for
yeah, you get the book and the poster. Yeah, kind of like every tier that goes up, you get what went with the tier below it. If there was anything extra, like, so if you buy the sketch cover tier, not only are you getting the sketch cover and the book, but you're getting the poster too.
Yes.
And also, there's, for the limited time, for the first 100 backers, they're going to get it's some Canadian artist. I can't think of his name right now. He's all right. No, he's great. Fantastic. Yeah, Simon, you've done a beautiful switchback piece that we've had. You're going to give us 10 signed copies. Those are going to go out randomly amidst those 100 backers.
They'll be in black and white on cardstock. Yeah.
Right, and then the rest are going to get a colored version of that same poster. So either way, you're getting like, if you're in that first 100 backers, you're getting a ton of value. You're getting 2 posters, you're getting your book. You get the sketch cover tier, you get all of that and the sketch on the cover. If you're in the first 100 backers, you get you get to actually tell me which character you want me to draw on the sketch cover, and you get to tell me which character you want drawn for your free bonus piece of artwork.
Sweet. And the last tier is get the original cover art by Vic King. But yeah, 11 by 17, right?
Yes, that's on 11 by 17 bristle board, and it's fully inked.
And only for $150. Come on, guys, that has to go soon. I'm so surprised it's not already gone.
Yeah.
But they broke the 1,000. Yay!
I'm happy we broke 1,000.
Yeah, you still got 34 days though, so y'all still got plenty of time. We'll get the word out.
We're getting our. You know what it was is like the first 30 days, and it's really just been kind of getting our sea legs. We've never done anything like this before, so we have had like maybe some misguided expectations or unrealistic ones, or even just not knowing what to expect. Like I think Adam was saying earlier about his experience when he was first putting out like G.I. Jackrabbit. He didn't, whatever he went through with that company, he didn't know that, he was going to put out a comic book and not get paid by them.
I had no idea. And the guys were awesome. And I became friends with them again later after all of it. But yeah, you never know what's going to happen. But you learn as you go. You learn as you go.
Right. So the way we're looking at it is the first 30 days was kind of like our training wheels, and so this next 30 days, so we got like this 4-day buffer in between to get ready for the next 30 days. The next 30 days, we're going to go at this so hard, this is like
a gangster.
Yeah, the last one.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I just pictured Aaron and Vic as gangsters, and that was really hilarious.
That's how you do it.
I'm actually, I'm kind of a, cross between gangster and rock star, so you're not too far off,
Well, sure you are.
Do you know what my nickname is?
What?
Which one?
Exactly, Red.
G Money?
No. My nickname is Star Capone. So we'll get the news out there.
Yeah.
I used to call my guy who ran. You guys might know him, Kirk Lindo, who does Vampirotica and Luxura. But in any event, I used to call him G Money. I mean, we had all sorts of fun nicknames. That's how you get this stuff done. You put a lot of life in it. You do your best work. You do even better work on the next one. You get the numbers up. Let people know how passionate you are about this stuff. I mean, I love the A-Team.
Yeah.
So, I know I'm going to like Extractors. If you're going to say A-Team in space, who's not going to buy A-Team in space?
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, and you give it a shot. It's A-Team in space. Who else has got A-Team in space?
No one.
Nobody.
That's what I'm saying.
Let's give it a little shout out to Ward the Wizard at 123%.
That's Mandy, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
He just got fully
That is
funded
Mandy.
yesterday, right?
Yep. On Ethan Van Skyver stream. Yep.
Yeah, she was on Ethan Van Skyver's stream earlier this morning they were doing something with Rainbow Bright.
Yeah.
And
She's close with Kyle. She's a buddy of Kyle's too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She's actually a buddy of mine too.
She's actually
really?
a buddy of
Fun
mine
fact
too.
Is she cool people?
Yeah. She's
Fun
one of
fact
the
about her
one of the many
campaign.
ones.
She's actually my 7th girlfriend.
Does she know that yet?
She does.
Oh, wow.
She's
Very
got
cool.
2 variant covers on her campaign from me. Now, that's just a fun fact for the audience.
Will she
Definitely
be
right
go
there.
back them.
There's
Well,
a
should
cover
we use
from
covers?
Vic King here. There's a cover from me.
Yeah, all right.
There's a cover-
Let's not fight over Mandy, everyone. She's everyone's friend, okay?
Yeah. She's actually she just can't come on. She was supposed she wanted to be on, but she couldn't. So I said we're still gonna plug her book.
Cool.
Who told her not to come on? That's very
She's
controlling.
she's our little sister.
Yeah, she seems cool, and I know Kyle only attaches himself to good people. Kyle,
She's a sweetheart. And
she was on a war campaign too. I haven't heard that much. I see she's getting around the community, which is great.
And here we have our friends Wyatt's Ardana at 44%.
Heck
Nice.
yeah.
Slowly but surely getting there.
Attractive looking book.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And he's like you. His book is already all done on flexible goal, and no matter what happens, everybody's getting their book.
Cool.
That summer cover is so awesome.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I love it. That's the one that I was like, I'm absolutely paying more to get that. That is beautiful.
Weren't we telling him yesterday to offer that as a poster?
Yep. And if he reaches the 3,500 goal, everybody gets a fold-out map of the entire world of Ardana. And if he reaches the 5K, well, he gets a nice little bookmark and stickers.
Nice.
I like the title. Ardana is a cool name. Extractors is a cool name too.
And I'll show you the bookmark. Here's the first part of the front of the bookmark.
Oh.
And here's the back part.
Whoop.
Oh, would you look at that?
That's the back part that you want to see.
So it's a double-sided bookmark.
Has Shay's size.
Go back her right now.
Now, Shay, we voted on that.
I'm fine with it. It's Vic acting like it's the first time he's seen it. Where he's like, "Oh, look at that! Like you know what it is."
Gracious, goodness gracious!
You know something, Shay? You got to to keep the excitement. Like every day is Christmas, you know.
Vic is being Vanna White.
Pearls.
Oh my God! It's a butt.
And here's our buddy Macho Dan with Hero.
Macho Dan.
Yep.
It took a little while, but we managed to get past that 5,500 mark. So that's a big thing for them.
Now the book is fully colored, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. I think the 55 stretch mark was fully colored. So yeah.
Stretch mark.
Upgraded colors. They get
Valkyrie. I've been drinking.
Already?
And while you're there, Star.
I've been drinking since I've been awake.
While you're there, Star.
Shocking.
Yes. Seeds of Yggdrasil. The book that everybody says they can't pronounce.
Wait, who's giving Jason's pitch today?
Oh, that's a good question.
I do it. I don't know what it is.
I can tell you who it's not going to be because I got to dip out. So, sorry, guys.
Catch you later, Red.
Thanks for coming,
Red Gaze.
Nice to meet you, Adam.
See you guys.
Absolutely.
In the future.
So when are we going to make this chat live? No, I'm kidding.
All right. So Seeds of Yggdrasil is a horrifying tale of survival and death, where the gardens of Yggdrasil are humanity's last hope for survival amidst a never-ending nuclear winter. And the dark underbelly of these safe havens, genetic manipulation and experiments have birthed a new generation of superpowered children referred to as seeds. Now freed from their cages after a mysterious power surge, they must band together to try and escape the labyrinth of death below the gardens.
Pretty cool.
Dum, dum, dum.
And Jason, that's your upcoming project?
Yes. This is the project that me and Simon are working on together.
And what's the title of your project?
Seeds of Yggdrasil.
And it's superhero children that are let out of cages.
It's superpowered children.
Superpowered, not superhero.
Yeah, they're not necessarily heroes. They're essentially, I wanted to make a story where, and typically our superhero stories we have, the people have their powers and
Star, give me a sec.
Yeah.
Horror Gen 13. Okay, continue.
Not everybody has seen Gen 13.
I'm sure everybody knows what it is.
So he's talking to me right now. I've seen Gen 13.
Hey, there you go.
So Jason,
Yeah.
so it's like basically like a story where, okay, so the grown-up world of man has like really messed things up and destroyed everything, even for these children who are like the new generation in this world that's been destroyed by nuclear travesty, right? And so now they have to deal with all the the bad side effects, like their mutant powers and stuff like that. Is that where you're going with, like, they're not necessarily heroes?
Yeah, the mutations.
Well, essentially, the mutations that have caused their abilities to develop affect each of them differently. Like with Sammy here, her powers only activate when she's asleep. However, it's caused such a psychological shock on her, she suffers from insomnia and night terrors. And we have another character who is the resident speedster, but she can only run up to about 55 miles per hour because if she runs any further, the speed literally causes her muscles and ligaments to rip and tear. So their bodies aren't developed to handle their powers.
See, I really.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. Yeah. That's interesting. I'm not sure I've heard that before. Like the power is a little physically too much for them.
Yeah, so all of them were experiments. They're kept locked in these holding cells underneath this facility, and they're experimented on regularly to test the limits of their powers, different things like that. And when this power surge happens, all the scientists evacuate, and the facility has a protocol where they send in units to eliminate the higher threat levels of experiments. And during the power surge, it fries all the lock systems for the doors. So all these children are out kind of going around, and they have to literally not only escape from the other children, other experiments, but also this military force that's going through and literally sweeping them out.
I think one of the things that you have that's like the germ of the idea that for me is really interesting is they have these powers, and yes, power can always be a curse more so than a blessing, but directly dealing with it where they're superpowered and they physically just can't, at least those two characters can't, they're suffering with their powers.
Yes.
They need a Professor X to save them.
They do. Another character,
I can't do it. I'm too busy. I'm joining the extractors.
Another character that we have, Catherine, that goes by both Catherine and Katrina. Her powers have actually caused a psychological split. She suffers from schizophrenia and dual personalities.
These are dangerous kids.
Yes. And depending on which personality is actually present and out depends on how she's capable of using her powers.
So there are different multiple identities from the schizophrenia have different powers.
Not different powers. They're able to use the same power differently. Like Catherine is able to generate a type of wall that repels kinetic energy, where Katrina takes that same energy and forms it into 3 fist-sized spheres that she can literally throw out and control that literally explode with kinetic energy.
Did they get these powers because of the apocalypse, or?
They got these powers because of the genetic modifications that the scientists made on them before they were actually in an embryonic state.
And they did it. Can you say why the scientists did this?
Yes. The world itself is blanketed in a nuclear winter. These safe havens are the only places that they can live, and their goal is to try and get back to where they can live in the radioactive world. So they're trying to adapt their bodies to be able to live in the radiation.
Good Lord.
That's why they've started experimenting with manipulation of genes to try and get the bodies capable of withstanding the radiation of the world.
Do you have some characters that they're really going to become overcome by their mutations and like not be able to function and die or commit suicide.
Yes.
Or okay.
Yes. Simon, do you want to pull up Dakota? We'll talk about Dakota.
Hold on a second.
One of the higher threat levels, his file name is Dakota. He himself doesn't have an actual personality because of his powers. His powers have left him in a half-mutated state. Think of like a werewolf that got stuck mid-transformation.
Oh my God.
And
what is it? There's a lot of suffering going on here.
Yes.
Where's the sunny side? There's got to be a sunny side too, no?
He's broody.
No, there is no sunny side to a scientific research for trying to get back to a radioactive world.
But if somebody can manage their powers, they can escape the suffering, at least.
Yes, that is the overall goal of them trying to get out of here. The few that are in the group can manage their powers to an extent.
This is the one thing, like with the Walking Dead TV series, not this exact, not exact setting you're talking about, but the beginning, I think of the 5th season, they met Negan, who just completely devastated all these characters that everyone cared about. And it was almost like depraved. You know, it was just, there was so much negativity that I know I stopped watching it then, and I'm freaking zombie nuts, College of the Dead. And then I tried again later, and they had other problems that they were just like, what are you doing this with this great property? But I'm sure they had their reasons, and they made billions, so good for them. But anyway, what I'm just saying, like, you know, with all that darkness, there's always, you know, this is what, one of the things missing from College of the Dead, maybe that's why it's personal to me too, is I didn't want it to be as dark as the Walking Dead TV show became. And that you want to have just something where it's like, even in the worst situations, like even a war zone, like there's a little flower that grows. And it's like, oh, there's a flower that grows. That could be hope. And that's a theme that, you know, even though people are suffering and we all go through incredible, horrible things people go through, all being relative, like they still have hope to hold on to. But these characters are trying to struggle with what they're suffering with. And then that's really their hope. You know, as long as they're like, some ray of light in there someplace, which I'm sure there will be.
Yeah,
it
like
sounds really well thought out.
Hey, what's happening, everybody?
Hey, Wyatt.
Hey.
We talked a bit about
I
it.
just want to interject.
Go ahead.
And just say that I am Negan.
Oh, that's terrible.
Hey.
I'm sorry.
So I am gonna head out. I gotta finish getting ready because I've got another stream and I'm not ready yet. So it was great talking to you guys.
Leave the bird.
Leave the bird. You don't want him here. He's gonna laugh every time they say somebody died because he's kind of an asshole, aren't you?
Thank you for coming. Oh, there's a bird.
Yeah. He's freaked out because the phone's really close to him.
Great to meet you. Great. Good luck with the book. It looks fantastic. Very interesting. A-Team in space, baby.
Absolutely.
Trackers.
I love it. All right, you guys have a good one.
All right, we'll see you.
Bye.
Bye.
So go ahead, Wyatt. Give us a little pitch quickly.
Oh gosh, I need to just record myself saying this so that I can play it back. Yep, Ardana number 0 right there on the screen. She's a warrior in a gritty fantasy world, kind of sword and sorcery in the vein of maybe like Conan the Barbarian or something like that, with a lot of, you know, things that I would put into a D&D setting built into it as well. Her father was an adventurer. He would come back from his, you know, adventures and tell her stories and bring back some of the artifacts and things that he found. And now he's been missing for 15 years, and she's beginning her search for him. And yeah, going to be a lot of action, violence, monsters, evil wizards, demons, and all kinds of badass things for her to kill.
Your art's really cool looking.
Thanks, man.
And I like the title too. I'm always like listening for titles, and your title is cool.
Thanks.
Yeah.
And looking like we're what's that? 1540? Is that what that says?
Yep. Yeah, it's 44% better.
Sweet. Yeah. Moving along.
Getting there.
Yep.
You'll
Yep.
get there.
Yep.
And all we've got left to finish is the lettering. So
Fantastic.
Yeah,
I love when
yeah.
something is done.
Oh, I know, man, because now I can just put all my promotion into it. I mean, put all my time into the promotion.
Yeah, and you can feel like when you tell people it's going to be there, then you know it's going to be there. Because I've made comics before, and I've made comics where they were very, very low end, and I've made stuff that was high end. We've hired like Adam Hughes and Adam Polina and other people not named Adam. They produce some beautiful, expensive stuff. Thinking of Adams right now. But Alfredo Alcala, who did Swamp Thing, did Swamp Thang for us, which is a parody. Spoof Comics was us too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I know, man. I got to bring back Spoof too, right? I got to do
God, man,
I got a lot of work
those.
to do. Spoof Comics, Spider Femme, Bat Babe, Wolverbroad.
Death of Super Babe. Yeah, man.
What
I
is this
remember all those.
X-23? I did Wolverbroad with Jim Balin. Before all these guys. But hey. But actually, I am looking at bringing that stuff back. But yeah, I mean, when I see some guys talking about how, you ask them how many pages their book is going to be, they don't know. And I'm not trying to speak badly about anybody. Sometimes they're just making the books bigger. But it is hard to make respectably decent comics. G.I. Jackrabbits we struggled with. I hired an artist. The guy was great. The cover was great. First page, really good. Second page, really good. Could not get any more work from him. I had to hire a whole new team of guys. And you could certainly see it in the work. So yeah, it's great that your book is done. People know it's going to be good when it ships, guaranteed.
Yeah,
it's going to look like what you're showing.
Right. Yep, it's going to look like that. It's 24 pages, full color. We're going to have some extras in it as well. Maybe a little lore about the world, some more secrets that that people can read up on, get everybody introduced.
Wyatt, they were showing us earlier that if you hit a certain level, I think it was 3,500, that everyone's going to get a map of the world.
Yep.
Yeah, that'll be the map. We're going to add a map to the book. To the interior, but one of these stretch goals will be I have a plan for a fold-out full-color map.
That's very cool. I think it's at 3,500, but you're not that far from.
Not that far. So
people should back it, and they should share it. They should share it so everybody gets the benefit.
Yep. And there's the bookmark at the 5K one.
The bookmark's cool looking too. I like the back of the bookmark. I'm that kind of guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just that kind of guy.
Yeah, designing that bookmark was a fun stream.
Yeah, there's two versions of the back, but people voted more for that version of the back.
What's that on your screen, Simon?
Nah, this is me redoing one on the page of BLOODHUNT.
Oh, that's cool, man. Okay, I see Vincent now. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Excellent.
Awesome.
This is when he tells him about the job that he has to go kill the old man in his sleep, and it's technically to get him out of the way as a gift for his daughter taking his mental.
Cool. But yeah, I grew up on a lot of Robert E. Howard, Edgar Rice Burroughs, all that kind of I love that old pulp fantasy, old pulp sci-fi, and want to kind of give it that kind of feel, and with some characters a little deeper than your pulp stories, but a pretty detailed world with a history and all that fun stuff. So
that's excellent. Very cool.
And here's mine.
Yeah, let's see what.
BLOODHUNT. Payback's a bitch. Or Adept in Blood. Now at 129%. So we're fully funded, going for the stretch goals.
Oh, cool.
It's the story of a badass assassin that gets betrayed and sent to his death on a simple mission, and gets turned into a vampire, and goes out for vengeance, but discovers at the same time that there's a world hidden in plain sight, a world filled with supernatural creatures and vampires, and their own rules that normal humans cannot see. So after he gets turned, he walks down the street feeling the hunger, and he starts noticing that he sees somebody. Then he sees a demon looking with a demon dog. Sees some kind of gargoyle on the street, and he turns the corner and he's like, "Ooh, the smell!" And he sees that lady there, but then he loses it, blacks out, and wakes up. He's already fed.
Even for the flavor of a prank.
This is him. So you're talking about a highly trained assassin who loses control. So he gets a bit like shocked and he goes, "I just killed an innocent," because he always dedicated himself into killing bad people as a way of excusing the need of killing, because it's like a dark inside, a bit like Dexter had. So he decided to make it as becoming like getting paid for it. So
now, maybe an obvious question, but the reason why he can see these demons and the other world hidden in plain sight is because he's a vampire now.
Yeah, supernatural creatures can see each other. Yeah, it's technically a veil just for the humans not to see them, and there's rules that they cannot expose themselves. And like here, he's gonna learn that he technically hunted on somebody else's turf, and there's rules about it. You meet other type of vampires, a ghoul, an ogre. So then his answer is go fuck yourself.
Badass.
So here's a little sample of little action when he goes to his knock on his boss's door. So this is what he does with the doorman.
Wow.
And this is what happens when this is where a backer is going to show up.
How much does it cost to be that person?
It's 200.
Jason, it's pretty cheap. What do you think?
He's already the werewolf.
So what? Jason can cover another 200. It's not that.
This is Vincent doing his Ballet of Muerte.
A world hidden in plain sight is very, very cool. It's very cool. It's very interesting, and it's almost just as a given. That's very cool. You want to see what that world is, because really, who knows what the world is around us right now? And the truth, I don't know what my neighbors are up to. They certainly don't know what the hell I'm up to, including this right now.
And
they don't picture that.
And what are the rules that they have to abide for compared to yours?
Well, your character, I don't follow the rules, and neither does your character.
Exactly. He doesn't care about the rules.
You heard it here first.
Did I just admit I was a vampire?
Yes, you did.
Is a vampire.
I'm not really a vampire, but sometimes.
And
I like it.
It's
a lot of action. It's very cool. It's black and white. Classic.
And highly violent. That's why it's mature. It's not because there's sex in it. Do you see like 2-3 scenes of boobies? But other than that, it's because of the hardcore violence. It's supposed to be funny. Like remember Lobo back by Bisley?
Bisley, yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So it's that type of mature.
That's great.
A bit like heavy metal magazines.
Yeah, graphic violence, baby.
Yeah, exactly. And making it funny.
What are your tiers at? Let's look at the tiers again. Because I'm sold, but I have to think about how do I buy in.
At 50, you get both versions of the book. You get the colored cover and the variant cover that's going to be a wraparound black and white.
Okay.
And for 50, you get a sticker and a limited print. That's actually this little thing that I was getting to right here, which is only for this campaign.
Nice.
At 15, you get the digital. 25, you get the colored cover with the sticker. You can also get the variant cover that's going to be the wraparound in black and white, which I can show you a bit what it looks like right here. Let me load it, because I'm working on it right now because I'm going close to my 5K. This is it. And 2 lucky backers are going to be chosen when we get at 5K to be him and him randomly, and they will just appear on the variant cover. At 100, you get both versions of the book, the art print, a 9x12 original sketch plus the sticker. 200, you're a mobster and you die in the book plus a 9x12 original sketch. At 300, you get to be a vampire, have a dialogue, and actually vampire guard and fight Vincent. You get a 9x12 sketch too, and you get everything from the earlier perk. And the werewolf is sold out.
I even know the werewolf right now.
Hey, I remembered. I remembered I have perks too.
You do?
I do, man.
You want to go back?
Yeah, sure.
There's always time.
Yes. Let me pull it out again.
Yeah, I mean, if you were finished, I wasn't like.
Yeah. I was just gonna show. Look at that cover with the nice moon. This is an exclusive. It's only for this campaign. It will not be the final cover of the book. Because when we go to my stretch goals, before we move, at 5K, 2 backers get randomly selected to be on the variant cover. Every backer will get a mini print of a new illustration, specially made for this campaign, and 1 lucky backer gets the original. But I decided that I will announce this officially soon. Plus, the Vincent business card. At 10K, you will get an exclusive limited black and white ash can containing Royal Rumble, a 10-page short story that will be part of a book called Opera Omnia. It's a full story in 10-page. It's going to be numbered and signed and co-written by Mr. Wyatt. That's right there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
It's the story of a warrior queen in space. 15K, but the book becomes an 80-page, and the ending fight with the 2 vampires and the 2 werewolves, instead of being 10-page, becomes 20-page. So it's going to be a 20-page fight, like a full regular floppy issue of fighting.
One more question about Bloodhunt. He's a mercenary now? Now he will kill for money?
That's what he is. It's not what he's going to do. That's what he does. He's an assassin, so he kills for money.
And I cannot talk him out of this. Who he is?
Not really, yeah.
What was he before he became a vampire? Was he also a mercenary before he was a vampire?
But he starts out, he is an assassin. He starts out exactly like this. He's an assassin that wants to be the best out of it. He wants to be known as Death, the Reaper. Okay. And
he's dramatic.
The thing is that he's secretly dating his boss's daughter.
Ah, why not?
So that's his boss sends him to his death.
Oh, boss does not like that.
Exactly.
Got it.
So after that, he wants payback because it's like Cyber Valkyrie likes to put it. It's technically John Wick meets Vampire Hunter D meets Underworld.
Right. So human assassin gets set up by his boss.
Yeah.
He finds out that Vincent is dating his daughter, and so he sets him up to go kill Mr. Head Vampire Dude without telling Vincent that he's a vampire. And so once that fails, Vincent's on the path for revenge against his old boss, and all the vampires are on the path to hunting Vincent because they all want the blood that he took from the now dead vampire boss.
That's why it's called Blood Hunt.
Hunting for blood.
Exactly.
Yeah, on both sides. So he's hunting, but he's also hunted for his blood. Yeah, because he technically killed one of the most ancient vampire part of the order, the council, and he drained his blood to survive.
Sim, I now own 1%.
Interesting.
So this is Blood Hunt. So go support it, back it, because we do want to get those stretch goals. Because imagine a 20-page ending fight with werewolves and vampires. That will be epic.
Would Jason be those werewolves?
Yes, Jason is one, and another one is Chris. Chris Evans, a big supporter of the Comics Gate.
That's awesome. So
they're both going to be vampires, werewolves, and Jason actually going to be his avatar being. And the avatar is already an avatar that I designed, so it's going to be in the book, and he's going to be morphing into a werewolf.
At first, I didn't really understand, why is Jason doing this with his money? But then I realized, that's pretty good value. You're going to be, kind of, like comics famous a little bit.
Yeah, I'll be immortalized in many different books.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Nice.
And I'll show you one of the pages where...
You're not going to gender swap the werewolf just to mess with Jason or anything, are you?
I would never do that.
But now that you mention it,
I would
Yeah,
do
right.
it. I mean, I would do it.
Now that you
I had to
mention
do
it,
it. Okay, I had to do it.
Hey, now.
this is the actual first page of the book,
Oh,
minus the the stick-ons.
okay. It's nice. You like drawing women. So
right out of the gate,
nice.
page 1.
Yep. And this is one of the action scenes after he discovers that the old man's a vampire. I like to put animation in my comics.
Yeah. A lot of movement. Very cool.
Thank you. And here's a better look at that other splash page.
Nice perspective. Look at that. Wow.
And the other panel in his cape.
This is not your first comic work, of course, right?
No. I've been doing in the self-publishing and working for a small editor here in Quebec, in Montreal.
Mm.
I first published in 2009 my own little fanzine, and then after that I started publishing in 2010 and 12. I've been doing that on the side, but for the last year I've been going at it pretty much full time.
Was that other crowdfunding projects, comic stores, or where at self-publishing?
My self-publishing was me funding it myself in the beginning, because Kickstarter was not available here. I tried twice on Kickstarter, but the first time I tried, my mom was died during the campaign.
I'm sorry to hear that.
So I was not really into it.
Yeah, of course.
The second one was in 2016, and that's when the entire SJW and feminism and stuff like that started happening.
Mm.
But the publishing was technically a publisher called Rémi Paradis, something like that, and they actually published an anthology of sci-fi comic in French, and they used to sell in here in Quebec and in France, and that's where I introduced my first character, one of my characters called Nat the Merc.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's very cool looking. A lot of energy, very dynamic.
Thank you.
Plus nudity, can't go wrong.
But I will say it is not porn. There's no full frontal nudity. You just see some boobies, okay?
And we can't pay you enough to add that. Put a tear in, baby. Put a tear. You never know.
Yeah, maybe. Here's gonna be a very special limited X-rated edition.
Right. A third version of the book now.
I'm sorry I brought it up. Of course, I'm just joking. It's not what this
Yeah, I know, we're joking.
Yeah,
this is just about having fun and violent fun, and I like gore, but I like gore when it's also funny. You could say.
Yeah. Vaughn was talking about that the other day. Vaughn Klaus from Monster MD was talking about kind of that horror, funny stuff like the Evil Dead vibe.
Yeah. It doesn't necessarily have to be a joke, but the one that makes you like that little grin in your face that makes you guilty that you're actually finding it funny the way he dies, like the pencil shot in the joke and the Batman.
Well, yeah. As Simon knows, if I'm laughing about it, then I like it.
That's cool.
Yeah, because all you had to say, like I've said, man, all you had to say was Lobo, and I was like, sold. And I think I'm like, what, back in number 4?
Yeah, it's a Lobo vampire thing technically. It's I'm a big fan of Lobo, and that when I say mature, that's what I mean. Lobo-ish, heavy metal.
Right.
2000 AD.
2000 AD. Yeah.
Fun. We want fun. You got
exactly.
Fun.
That's what I wanted to do. I saw that it's something that's not being done, and I'm like, I'm gonna go all in with a vengeance story, and it's a one self-contained story, but I have 2 sequels planned that will be, and the last one is actually the end, and you actually end up in the future.
Nice.
Yeah, to me, it's basically anything that was cool in the 90s that would make you go, oh, when you saw it.
Mm-hmm.
So, like a good scene in an action movie or whatever.
Yeah, you want to have that in there. That's very cool.
Thanks. So, let's go over your tiers, buddy.
Yeah. First of all, for the record, every piece of advice John Malin gave me has been incorporated. Because
awesome.
if you don't listen to that, then you should listen to that.
Yeah.
So yeah, so the first tier, that is our featured tier. It is we have 2 covers, so that's the standard cover and a variant cover. Of course, the variant is that really nice beach cover there, and you get both of those for 30. And then you can just get the standard number 0 for 15, or just the variant for 20. You can get both of them and a black and white variant of the standard cover for 50. And you can get all 3 of those and a virgin cover variant of the beach cover, and you can get those for 75. And that's all 4 of those. And you can get 2 copies of everything for, I can't see the price. Is it 125?
125, yeah.
Cool.
You can get 2 copies of everything for 125, or 5 copies of everything for is it 250?
250, yeah.
Yep. So and that should be about around a 33% discount as far as what it would normally have cost otherwise. So I'm trying to if there's anybody out there who wants to sell some on eBay, or if you have a store and want some, let me know. You can definitely go with either one of those, but I do have some higher ones built that I'm just not showing yet. So if anybody wants to do that, we get up to close to the same discount you would get from a big publisher. So
get in on it, because when number 1 comes out, you're gonna regret not having number 0.
Yeah. This is where we're going to introduce 4 of the major characters that will be part of the saga, and of course Ardana, is one of those, and there'll be 3 other guys.
Yeah, and there's big plans for that babe, warrior babe.
Yeah, cool. Big plans. I've been working on the story about 6 years. I was originally going to write it as a fantasy novel, and I got probably about halfway through the novel, and that's when I decided, man, this would be so much fun to do as a comic. And we started working on it. Like I said, it's almost finished except the lettering. Everyone's been paid. So, and if you back the book, you're getting it. It's just that simple. So if let's get it funded and get some stretch goals happening, and everybody's gonna get a lot of cool stuff. And yeah, it's gonna be good.
That's another project. Not to worry about the flexible goal, because it's done. It's ready to go. He just needs to know how much he needs to print. And
yeah.
Just like Adam.
Yep, that's the only reason I made it flexible.
Right. I got a quick question for you guys, because I was thinking while we were talking.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think of an alternate black and white cover with you on the cover having a zombie death?
That would be cool.
So in other words, if zombies were to kill Jason in black and white, it's your likeness, and you get the original art, and that art appears on the cover.
That would be awesome. Yeah.
That would be awesome.
And it's virgin. Virgin.
Yeah. You could put it as a variant. Yeah.
Interesting.
I'm stealing that idea.
So what do you? Take it, brother. What do you charge somebody for that? 5 bills? 3 bills? What would Jason pay? Jason would pay anything, but like a regular person. Because you're not in the regular book. You're in your special version.
Yeah. And they're getting the original art.
Got to get the original art. You got to
I'd say 500's a steal.
5 biggies.
Yeah, I'd say 500. You'd sell it fast.
Mostly because there are a lot of collectors in the comic gate industry, as well as the indie scene, and anything with original art or original cover work is of high value.
Yeah.
So if you're not only getting a special variant cover of your own likeness being a death in the comic is a great deal to begin with, but getting that art as well.
This is me, guys. I do stuff wrong, but then I kind of like listen and think and adjust a little bit. It's like, well, but you could do it right the next time.
This is the point of this show.
Absolutely. I've gotten a lot of advice since I started. I mean, even before I started, but even now, there are already some things that I know I'm going to do different next time. And it's not anything, major that was really detrimental, but I know it would improve. So,
yeah.
So,
Something.
I really love this idea, and I wasn't kidding when I said I'm going to steal it.
Yeah, steal it. Do you do it for me? And you're the artist, so it's easier for you to execute. No pun intended.
I might do it too.
Everybody should do it.
I think that's the answer to the question you asked me earlier, Adam.
Yeah.
How do I become a member of the Extractors?
That is how I become a member of the Extractors.
You're a member of the team on the cover with the rest of the team.
I mean, if you really love me, you want to take the idea and you want me to be a member of A Team in Space, you could go ahead and be like, there's my likeness right there. Put me in there. And, put me in, coach. Put me in.
Yeah.
I think that does make a lot of sense for the Extractors too, because you're you're joining the team with a death.
Yeah, or you could have your zombie death right on the cover.
Your zombie death right on the cover. Why not?
Yeah.
And it also, what it helps with a lot too is I don't like this stuff where it's like, all right, well, this part is unfinished because we have to wait, and then they have, they still have to yet send you the likeness, and that interferes with the production of the book. So at some point, like, you really have to make a consideration of like, all right, this guy, he did pay for it, but he gave me a likeness, but it's like so small, he doesn't understand, like, your Facebook profile is not necessarily like what we need. And then they're tall or they're stocky, but they're not really, but they don't want to look stocky. And it's like, well, all of that takes place while you're still trying to put your book together and have your final file so you can give it to the printer. And that's with one person. But if you can do an alternate cover, which we can do in these, internet days and tech days pretty inexpensively, and it's a separate project from the execution of the book, then yeah, that's kind of that's fantastic. And it's not just a pinup, it's actually a cover, so someone could have fun showing it to their friends. And that actually is the kind of thing, as we're talking about it now, I'm realizing, well, that is the kind of thing where they could get whatever for $500. Maybe they can get 10 copies for $600, because they can kind of share it with their friends. That might be a neat option for someone, because they can kind of show it around and share it. I think I want to be a member of the Extractors. I was thinking about it before, but now I'm more convinced. It seems like a good opportunity, career-wise. I don't know how well it pays, but it looks pretty good. Looks
insurance is a stable career.
I have. I know a little bit about it. It is, but they're in a dangerous part of it. But still, you got to live dangerously. Adventurous. The girls like that. Why not?
It's okay. I'm already in it. I'm switchback.
Ah. Right.
Pretty cool.
You know what's funny? Like, when we were discussing, when Aaron first sent me the script and everything, that was really what popped into my mind first when I read it. I was like, this team dynamic and the story that he's laid out for me. That was the first thing that popped into mind. This is the A Team in Space. And so when I was going through and I was doing the designs, if you look at Switchback, you can kind of see different parts. But I did kind of design him after B.A. Baracus.
Nice.
He's got like a skin afro on the top, and his helmet part is wraparound like the sideburns on Mr. T. So that was definitely like my inspiration for Switchback was Mr. T.
From a writing standpoint, of course, the characters are archetypes. These are characters that have appeared in many stories over, many generations, and from different writers. And I always like to give a shout out to Professor Geek, his YouTube channel. He has he's an actual professor. He's an actual teacher, and he's done many videos on talking about writing related specifically to comic book characters. And then he dives into specifics like, well, this is why Superman is this type of character. This is why Wonder Woman is that type of character, and Deadpool, and he relates them to classic, well-written stories, and it's very interesting. And I love it. It's almost like a cheat, to be able to like refer to an archetype and be like, all right, I want to do my own version of. In fact, in College of the Dead, I came up with the professor who is a female professor who is a bald character and is similar to Walter White in that she sells drugs to her students. And she thinks that all the commotion when she first hears about the apocalypse has to do with the police coming to arrest her. And it is the police coming to arrest her, but it's actually the zombies are also out there and they're starting to eat the police. But, drawing inspiration from other sources is very cool. We have that Breaking Bad vibe in College of the Dead also. They did an excellent job.
Well, when I was reading your description, for me, what it's right along the same lines of just what you're saying. But the connection I made was with one of my favorite TV shows, which was Weeds. I don't know if you remember that show.
You know what? I never got into. I knew of it, and I never got around to watching it. But they were regular people selling drugs.
She was a widowed soccer mom who wound up being the weed connection in the community. So she was selling to everybody, and her business just kept growing, and then it got out of control. She wound up marrying like a drug lord from Mexico, and
it was fun as hell.
The series got really wacky, but that was the connection I made. I was like, oh wow, so it's like that kind of a thing. Like she's doing a bad thing, but she's not exactly bad. She's trying to be a upright, take care of her kid, mom, and everything. But you got to pay the bills, right?
Got to pay the bills. If you don't do it, somebody else will. Type of rationale.
Right.
But at the bottom of it, you still have people that are like, well, yes, but a lot of people have these problems and they don't stoop to whatever it is that you're actually doing. So there is something wrong, usually with someone who's selling poison to children. But you see it from a couple of different sides. That's why when Stefan Petrucca, who actually wrote College of the Dead with me, for me, he's an excellent writer, so he's able to really show you the relationships and the balance of them, and the good guys are good, and the people, it's just so much you can get from it. But I like this cover idea. I think it's very cool. I want you guys have to share it with me when you guys do it. It'll be fun to see it. Make sure I don't miss it is the type of thing. Very cool. If you put me on there particularly, just be like, hey, we're putting Adam Post. You have my permission to stick me on there if you want to, as an example of this could happen to you.
Okay. Hey, yeah.
To you.
Hey, Simon, I've been meaning to tell you that the reason I took the thing about the print off is because remember we announced it was going to be if you backed in the first 2 weeks.
Yep.
And that time is over.
Yep.
So, and I want to, luckily there's a lot of people that have a good chance to win because, but, I didn't want to change it from what I originally said, of course. So, So, those will be the people that are in the drawing for one of the 10 prints. So, yeah, I just wanted to let you know I didn't take it down for any nefarious reason.
There's always something nefarious going on somewhere.
I figured it was. Here, that was the print.
I've been so busy at work the last 2 or 3 days, man. I haven't had much time to be around.
That was the print that I did. It was for the 2 first weeks.
Yep, there it is.
Very cool.
So yeah, everyone that backed in the first 2 weeks, they have a chance to win one of 10 of these, and it's a print signed by Simon. Simon did the art for that.
This could be like a mental thing, but I love G.I. Jackrabbits, and I actually love Kyle Ritter too. So not many people have seen this. I'm just going to send you the link on through our little inside chat. If you're just curious to see what the image looks like of Kyle recoloring G.I. Jackrabbits, it came out amazing, and that's what made me re-obsessed with G.I. Jackrabbits. If I see fan art for G.I. Jackrabbits, I am going to be possessed to do it again. I'm already possessed, but I'm not going to have any choice.
Looks good. Very 80s.
Yeah. Well,
you're probably gonna have fan art by Monday, dude. I'm telling you.
I'm going to be well. All right, I really have to spend.
I'm going to get this ball. I'm going to get this ball rolling.
Well, you know what I did too was really devastating that James Hudnall passed. He is a brilliant writer. He really knows comics. He served in the military, and he started helping me with developing the story for a relaunched G.I. Jackrabbits. And I haven't published it around that much, but there's a story take for G.I. Jackrabbits returning starting in the 1990s prior to Ethan Van Sciver's Blood Honey's Hornet invasion. And the story takes place at that time, and then it takes place a little bit after that. And then you see how the G.I. Jackrabbits are affected by the Hornet invasion. I don't have his permission to do the story yet. I've mentioned it just kind of in passing to him. He's such a just open, great guy that, you know, if he saw it was good and he thought it was a good story, I'm sure he'd be open to at least considering it. But yeah, I mean, when James passed, we got a great story take, which is just, I love it. It's definitely better than the original, but I could picture the G.I. Jackrabbits in the Cyber Frog universe pretty easily. But again, I just keep getting drawn back into it. But hey, when you love it, that's the way it goes. So we'll see if I get more development done on it. If I get pummeled with fan art, then I have no choice. I'm doing it. I'm just have to put some other stuff aside and focus on that. But it would be a hell of a lot of fun. I was rereading some of the old stuff, and I was like, man, it was just really cool. Came from something really cool. So there you go.
So go back, College of the Dead.
Yeah, College of the Dead. That's what's coming out right now. College of the Dead is coming out no matter what. It is a flexible goal, and we have a number that we wanted to hit, but the number is almost meaningless. You know, we've got more than enough resources to get the books printed and delivered before October 31st. They will be delivered before Halloween, and they came out fantastic. It's a great story. It's really interesting, and the characters are extremely well developed. I got hit up on Twitter by someone who was like, they just saw my hashtag zombies, and they were like, man, I would play the hell out of this as a role-playing game. And I was like, well, as a game, that's kind of interesting. So I'm like, well, did you mean video game, or did you mean like a tabletop board game? And he was like, oh, definitely board game. So I don't know who this guy is, but I sent him our character descriptions, which then inspired me later to, after him and also talking to Vaughn, to put them on the College of the Dead Indiegogo page. And I was like, all right, let me send them to him. And he sent them, and there's this extensive character descriptions on each one of them. And I'm like, which characters would you play? And then he gave me the name of 2 characters. And I was like, then I shared it to another friend of mine who's an art director for an artist agency who provides a lot of great talent to, I think, a couple of ours guys potentially, and Comics Kid, but definitely some Marvel and DC guys. And I was like, Eduardo, what do you think of this? He's like, you know, someone from a board game company. He's like, you know what? Yeah, let me talk to my friend at the board game company. So yeah, just the whole networking thing and the experience. This is like the most coolest way to spend a Saturday, is talking comics and talking comics to other guys who are making comics, and just really having fun with this stuff, and just keep, you know, pushing it further and pushing it further and pushing it further. If everybody has day jobs and they have ways of making money and they can do this as a passion on the side, it's a great opportunity. It's a great way to work. And then eventually something will hit. In our publishing business, we made money publishing comics back in the early 90s. Spoof Comics made money. These things didn't make millions or anything like that. They made money. But occasionally something would make a lot of money. We did like a Shaquille O'Neal #1 that sold way more than it should have sold, something like 80,000 copies. And it was a chunk of money, and it was just successful. It was a breakout hit. And Cyberfrog is not that. It's not an accidental hit. Earthworm Jim is not an accidental hit. Jawbreakers is not an accidental hit. These guys are getting paid for the time that they put in to produce a great looking product in an incredible amount of time, making something fantastic. And it happened to pay off. A lot of times most people spend time on stuff and it doesn't work. But Doug TeNaples, a very commercial guy, very creative guy, but he's a savvy commercial guy too. I noticed, I don't know how many other people noticed this, but he had mentioned, of course, he sold the rights cheaply for Earthworm Jim, and he doesn't control them. But that was years and years ago. But he was mentioning just in passing, is like, yeah, I was selling the rights to one of my properties for something else as an option for $500,000. It's like, oh, okay, well, that's kind of cool. So you could, by how he operates and the success and his Doug's focus on delivery, he knew he wanted to deliver Bigfoot Bill high end as promised, like in great shape. I ordered a copy. I got mine. It was really good. And Doug has been in the game of making books and delivering for a long time. But even when things are really successful, after they're successful, problems do come up. So you can't get too easygoing about things. You have to always continue to figure out how you're going to make what you're doing a viable business and a viable source of income if it's something you're going to continue in. And that's,
hey guys, I'm gonna have to drop off. But hey, it was good meeting you, Adam. And,
yeah, great talking to you, Wyatt. Thanks for remembering Spoof Comics. That's got to come back too now.
Oh yeah, dude. I still have all of mine. So yeah.
Oh, Wyatt. What do you think of this idea? So Adam Hughes did 7 covers for us, and you know what they were. They were really nice. And I'm thinking of doing 7 covers, collecting 700 pages, 100 pages per trade, so I can feature his cover on each one of them. Does that sound pretty cool?
Oh yeah, that sounds cool, man.
Gotta bring it.
It kind of reminds me of the big trades they're doing for Vampirella.
Oh yeah. But I mean, and you know what? Even with that, I feel unfulfilled because I've got Wolver Broad by Jim Ballant. I've got that I can't. There's no room.
Right.
I mean, we could do variants, but I mean, maybe we have to do it with variants or something. But we have that. We have Kelly Jones's Swamp Thing is beautiful.
Yep.
Dave Johnson did covers for us. That was the best money we probably ever spent, was just get great guys to do amazing stuff. It's just, it gets expensive quick. But anyway, thanks for that, man. I appreciate the feedback.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I think I'd certainly back it. So
make sure we connect on Twitter, Comics We Love.
Yeah, I just followed you.
All right, and follow me on my crazy YouTube channel, which is a hell of a lot of fun. AdamEveryday.com.
Okay, sure will.
Or halfspeedtucci.com. It does point there.
That's funny. All right, guys. Well, I'll be talking to you later.
Sounds cool.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Take care, man.
So, yeah.
Very cool. It's a lot of fun. Guys, I should probably take off too and do a little bit of dad business.
Yeah, we're closing this.
We're closing. So it's been great.
Let's sign off.
Love spending time.
Wyatt's out. We're all out.
Yeah. So, oh yeah. Wyatt's leaving. Come on.
Let's sign off. So, Adam, where can we follow you?
Yeah, thanks for making time for me today and talking. Hey, are you guys cool with us reposting the stream?
Yeah.
Excellent. Because I got to put this on my YouTube channel. It was too much freaking fun. Too much fun.
And Jason?
Jason Starr from the Starcast Network. You can follow me on Twitter at StarCasp_net or my YouTube channel, Starcast Network.
Vic?
I'm Vic King Art at that's Twitter at Vic King Art, and I am the artist on the Extractors live on Indiegogo right now, and I do have a YouTube channel also, Vic King Art.
A Team in Space, only better.
support
A-Team in
extractors.
space, only better.
Yep.
More action. Yeah.
And ask about dying on the cover.
48 pages.
And Cyborg.
I really didn't do or say anything in the stream, but yeah, on Twitter and YouTube, both Cyborg Valkyrie. Adam, I just have to say this. I know I didn't talk to you at all during this, but you have the best camera of anyone I've ever seen stream. So if you could...
Are you kidding?
No, your picture is the clearest that I've seen on any one of these streams.
Cyborg, I've gotten problems. I've gotten criticism over my camera. I have a friend who's like, you know, Adam, I like what you're doing, and I don't know how to tell you this, but your camera's not, it's not good enough. You need a better background than your couch. You can't just be yelling at people and threatening them from your couch. You should be threatening them from like a backdrop.
No, that's all incidental. I just mean the clarity of your camera itself, because so many people that stream are so pixelated. I mean, even EVS, when he invested all that money in his setup.
You know what? You know what? Here's my, if I may, I'll tell you my trick, brother. Brother Cyborg. I am near my Wi-Fi, and it is Wi-Fi. And I'm using a regular laptop that I bought a year ago from a very strange person who was nice, and I pretended they weren't strange. I mean, I'm unique too, but this was like, you'd be like, "Whoa, what's up with that guy?" But yeah, I mean, I really, that's it. And then, I mean, so this is thanks for mentioning it, because I think I have my red curtains I'm usually behind, but this might be my new thing. I appreciate it, Cyborg.
You're welcome.
Please tell the rest of the Cyborg race that I welcome them to my world as well.
And I'm Simon. You can follow me on YouTube and Twitter, and go support BLOODHUNT. So
nice.
Have a good day. See you next time.
Thank you, guys. Great to spend time with you today, and thank you for the time. It was really a lot of fun.
Yeah, good to talk with you again, Adam.
Yeah, good to see you.